today. Spy agencies' hack of a SIM card factory and Lenovo's massive security fail once again demonstrate the need for pervasive end-to-end encryption. Your host is Rick Falfinger, and this is Liberties Report.
This report is presented by Private Internet Access.
Good evening and welcome to Liberties Report, Week 8, 2015, and what a week it's been. Lenovo is found out to have opened up their customers' computers wide open to any adversary on the internet. NSA and GCHQ have hacked the entire mobile phone network. And in some good news to counter that, the feared Global Security Summit, where informal talks were supposed to take place on February 18, turned out to be little more than a cocktail party and a photo op. The biggest Liberty story of the week was undoubtedly another one of Snowden's documents coming to light that the United States NSA and British GCHQ spy agencies had infiltrated Gemalto, a manufacturer of SIM cards headquartered in the Netherlands. SIM cards are chips inside mobile phones that contain subscriber information, along with cryptographic keys. And so, with the ability of having these cryptographic keys, they were able to eavesdrop the entire world's global mobile phone network. It's hard to overstate that intrusion. It's hard to overstate the audacity of these organizations. And it's quite clear by now that these organizations are operating quite outside the law, and judging solely by their actions, they are criminal organizations pure and simple. They broke into SWIFT, the banking network, to wiretap all our financial transactions. They even broke into the European Parliament through Belgacom, the Belgian communications provider. And now everybody's found cryptokeys. Anybody who had done this, who would not be working for the government, would be in prison for a very, very long time. So we are seeing an example of two-tiered justice here. We are seeing an example where laws don't apply to some people who are working for the government. We are seeing a re-emergence of high justice and low justice, as in some laws don't apply to everybody. These are criminal organizations, pure and simple, and they should be treated like that. It's kind of interesting to see how Angela Merkel of Germany was really outraged when she found out that the NSA had wiretapped her phone. And so she got a new phone, she got a new, presumably something new that would replace the wiretapped one. But it turns out that when the NSA and the GCHQ have the crypto keys, it doesn't matter how many new phones you get, because your calls can still be tapped out of the air. And here's the importance of using end-to-end encryption. You cannot trust anybody else, any provider, any vendor, with your private communications. End of story. If you're not in control of who can see your communications, you need to assume that it's public. We've really gone that far down the rabbit hole. If you're not in total control of who can see your communications, you need to assume that it's public. It's noteworthy that apparently the NSA had singled out a Gemalto employee in Thailand who was using PGP in order to start attacking this company to get the crypto keys, which means that somebody was actually singled out for using end-to-end encryption, which is another strong argument that we should all be using it for the most mundane things, for saying hi, for exchanging guacamole recipes. We need to make the NSA's life hard, frankly. It's no coincidence, and it is happy news, that Citizen 4, Laura Poitras's documentary about Edward Snowden's leaks and how they changed the world, won an Oscar for Best Documentary just last night. It's kind of surprising to see a mainstream organization digging this deep into cyberpunk culture, but it's interesting to see how these issues are going well-deservedly mainstream. Meanwhile, computer manufacturer Lenovo has the worst screw-up in a decade, security and liberty-wise. In a monumental consumer contempt, they install a root certificate on their computer, making that computer accept false, fraudulent, and malicious certificates for websites and domains in general. That meant that Lenovo took themselves the right to eavesdrop on your secure communications, on your end-to-end encrypted communications, with your bank, with your business colleagues, with your everything that you thought to be secure. And here's again the proof that you need to be in control of not just your communications, but your hardware. This ranks among the top 3 disasters, and we'll cover the other 2 in a minute. And not just for the monumental contempt displayed in installing this in the first place, which was to show advertising. And when confronted about it, the Lenovo CTO, Peter Hortensius, replied on the record that this is a theoretical concern. They are dealing with theoretical concerns. The news broke Wednesday night, and by Thursday there was a working exploit published. This is not, and to make matters even worse, this wasn't just a man-in-the-middle SSL attack. They actually made the computer accept any SSL certificate, even fraudulently and obviously false ones that would be rejected by an ordinary installation. This ranks right up there with Sony's rootkit in 2005, when they maliciously installed rootkits taking full administrative control of every computer that used their music CDs. They broke into millions of computers, taking control of them. The quote then was from Thomas Hess, president of Sony Global Digital, saying, "Most people don't even know what a rootkit is, so why should they care about it?" At that specific point, most technology professionals put Sony on a permanent blacklist, never purchasing anything from Sony again, me among them. And the third case being Belkin in 2003, when they had routers, meaning that gateways to and from residential networks. And some marketing person thought it was a good idea to randomly hijack web connections every 8 hours to serve advertising for more Belkin services. A quote at that point from a customer was, "I have the strange notion that routers should pass data unmolested by marketeers." And you'll note the quite striking parallel here to the current Lenovo case, where they also hijacked your network traffic to serve advertising. Belkin then responded by means of Eric Deming, the project manager, quote, "I know this feature might be misunderstood," end quote. At that point, all technology professionals stopped buying Belkin network products. So to end that up, we might quote Doktorov's first law. Anytime somebody puts a lock on something that belongs to you and will not give you a key, they're not doing it for your benefit. From a recent book of Doktorov's. And why is this important? Because it connects directly to the NSA story. It shows the importance of end-to-end encryption. It shows how hardware can be infiltrated to subvert your communications, and is being subverted for the most mundane and stupid marketing reasons. Finally, the Global Security Summit, where lots of leaders would meet and discuss informal security solutions, on February 18, fortunately turned out to be little more than a cocktail party and a photo op. So those fears were fortunately overblown, and it's happy that fears can be overblown just for once. I'm Rick Falkving, and this is Liberties Report. Visit our sponsor, Private Internet Access. Good night.
This report is presented by Private Internet Access.
Liberties Report is produced using exclusively free software.